Okay, I think we're live. Let me just refresh and make sure. What's going on, guys? Mega's finishing up dinner. She's running to the bathroom. But here we are, episode 2. You guys seem to kind of like the first one. I don't know. It got a lot of dislikes, but it also got a lot of good comments that made me want to keep doing them. So, yeah, here we are. So, if this is your first time, this is only episode 2, but we eat dinner for you in front of you. Hopefully you're eating dinner with us. That's like kind of the idea. We eat dinner together. And we tell stories, true crime stories, mysteries, the unexplained, the unresolved, things like that. So you can watch the first episode. Wrongful convictions. That's what Mega's saying hers is today. I don't know anything. So I don't know anything about the story she's telling, and she doesn't know anything about the story I'm telling. And if you guys want to suggest cases or mysteries below in the comments, you can do that. And if you're following along, if you have like theories, etc., just let us know, because we will read them and kind of give our thoughts on what you guys think about the case.
Do you want chopsticks?
No.
Okay, because I'm really bad at like guessing, so I need your help.
I can't eat with chopsticks.
So, when Matt's telling his, if you have ideas, shoot them my way so I can, no. Can you move over?
Yeah. And
I need a booster seat.
So our channel, if you just found us through True Crimes, which I think is very rare, but maybe there's a few of you, we typically talk about diet and nutrition, fitness.
Yes.
So this is kind of outside the box of the normal. Nice haircut. I didn't get a haircut. Oh, I shaved my beard.
I'm drinking one of my favorite drinks of all time, Topo Chico Lime.
Yeah, if you guys have keto questions, you can ask those now.
Yeah.
We're going to eat a little and then get into the stories.
And what do we have for dinner? I just whipped this up. It took like 10, 15 minutes tops. We have egg roll in a bowl.
I'm actually linking the recipe in chat right now.
And I've never eaten in front of a group of people with chopsticks that I don't know, so feel free to make the comments when I'm dropping food.
Yeah, I don't know how to use chopsticks.
Or tell me if I'm doing it wrong.
So what's in this exactly?
We have
Topo Chico with lime.
There's ground sausage. It's actually sweet Italian.
Yeah. Why'd you pick that one? Does it go good with this?
Yeah, it tastes really good still. And then there's cabbage, and then there's Asian seasonings. So there's soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, garlic, shallots, ginger, and I think that's it.
Do you use sea salt? If so, how do you get your 150 micrograms of iodine daily? So if you eat seafood, you get some. You can eat seaweed. I typically eat a lot of seafood, so I don't worry about it too much. You can also supplement with it. But if you think you're getting your salt from the iodized salt, the iodine is not really bioavailable or bioactive by the time you actually consume it. Yeah. So, can you explain more about why cod liver oil is beneficial? So it has omega-3s and vitamin A and vitamin D. Vitamin A we don't get a lot of in the American diet. Vitamin D you can always pretty much use more of.
And you can't always get it year-round though, especially depending on where you live actually.
So a lot of you guys suggested different mysteries. I looked into a few of them. There's one that kind of caught my eye, but I decided to just go with this one that's really interesting today. Should I go first today?
Sure, whatever. We can rock it out again.
Okay.
How is it? Does it need more seasoning?
No. And then I got these Quest chips. These are really good. They sell them at a lot of stores now, like Walmart has them, I think, even. Mm-hmm. But definitely like GNCs and stuff.
I'm getting a blood test before I see a low-carb nutritionist. What should I be getting checked? We're probably not the people to ask that. Matt doesn't really ever get his blood checked, right? But yeah, you can have your vitamin D levels checked, your thyroid levels checked, your A1C, your iron, but nothing in particular that I can think of.
Just picked up some 5,000 IU vitamin D3 soft gels. 400 IU is the RDA. Should I be supplementing less? Is 400 IU really the RDA?
That's low.
Yeah, that's pretty low. I don't think it's 400 IU, but I think 5,000 is like pretty safe, honestly.
Have you checked out My Favorite Murder Podcast? Yes, it's horrendous.
It's not horrendous,
it's
but
so
it's
bad.
so much chit chat at the front of it that I don't really like it. But we're doing a lot of chit chatting right now, so I guess I can't complain.
That's true. But if you have questions, if I ate one Russell Stover sugar-free candy a day, could I still lose weight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you can lose weight if you eat a king-size Snickers bar per day.
That's true.
Okay, should we get into it?
Sure.
Do you want to do rock, paper, scissors? Mm-hmm. Okay. I like when you go first because then I can eat my food when it's hot. You're better at eating food cold.
That's true. Do you want me to go first?
Mm-mm.
Ready?
There we go. That was a real battle. When you start getting to like the fourth or fifth,
Then
rock,
I'm just
paper,
like
scissors,
trying to read him.
Yeah, then there's some
Like, I got
psychology
you.
going on.
Okay, so I'm going first?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and so you always put the names of the people too, right?
What do you mean?
Of the cases in the video title.
Yeah.
So if you see it ahead of time, you can look it up and get some insight into the cases if you don't want to listen to me terribly tell the story. So, and a lot of people might know this one. It's on Darlie Routier. So, it was really like well known when it happened. It was a big thing. It was compared to like, what are the other women? Amanda Knox, and then the woman who...
Casey Anthony.
Casey Anthony. But it just wasn't publicized as much, but it was compared to it. So, Darlie Routier. So the murder happened June 6th, 1996, and to give you some insight, Darlie was 26, so really young. And I didn't realize that until like way into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the timeline of
It's gonna be good.
the night it happened. So, at 2:30 a.m., an intruder broke into Darlie and her husband's home that they share with their 3 sons and stabbed their 6-year-old son, Devin, and their 5-year-old son, Damon, and slashed Darlie's throat ear to ear.
Wait, so they have how many total kids?
3 sons.
And 2 of them got killed.
Yeah, so this is how it was situated. Darlie and the 2 sons that were stabbed were sleeping in the living room, and the husband and the 7-month-old son were sleeping upstairs in the bedroom.
I've heard this case before.
So this happened. She immediately called 911, and the police arrived within 3 minutes of the phone call. That's quick, yeah. They discovered a window screen in the garage that had been cut, but nothing else that indicated an intruder had entered the home. Darlie and her sons, as I said...
Is it an attached garage?
Yeah, it's like a house, yeah, within a garage. Like I said, she and her sons were sleeping downstairs, and then the husband and the younger son were upstairs, and the 2 upstairs escaped harm. Nothing happened to them. They didn't even know it happened until after the fact. So the stabbings led to fatal injuries. One son died immediately. The other one was gasping for air, and before he got to the hospital, he died. So 8 days after this incident, the murder, it was Devin's 7th birthday, and there's a newscast of the entire family, Darlie in particular, at his gravesite, celebrating, laughing, shooting silly string, like just acting somewhat abnormal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So this was 8 days after the murder. So, most people would think this is odd behavior, but everyone copes differently. That's what my thinking was, right? So it's been 8 days. Maybe, like for me, example, my dad always says when he dies, dance at my death, celebrate, drink, party.
Plus you have a kid there, so you're like maybe trying to...
A 7-month-old.
Maybe, a 7-month, okay.
Yeah.
So if it's like a 4-year-old, maybe you're like, hey, let's all be happy.
Celebrate your brother, yeah.
7-month-old. But I do hear people just like celebrate or like mourn in really mysterious ways. Like Amanda Knox, she was like...
Yeah.
Sexually groping her boyfriend when the cops were inspecting
exactly.
the house.
So everyone copes differently, for sure. So 4 days following this grave celebration, Darlie, the mom, was arrested and charged with capital murder. Charged with capital murder.
Okay.
So that's it. That's what happens. A lot of it, though, we're going to look into is the evidence and the trial.
So she got charged. They must have good evidence on her doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. Okay, so let's...
But she was also cut, so we're assuming she cut herself?
Right, we'll get into that, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing. She was also... There's blood everywhere. She was slit ear to ear. So, like, you wouldn't think a normal person would do this to themselves, right? But she's 26 also. I'm taking that into account. Think about when you were 26. And
Yeah.
you already have
She has a 7-year-old kid?
a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old and a
Okay.
7-month-year-old. Okay, so let's... The grave celebration. That's the first piece of evidence. That was, like, touched on.
I would just discount that, though.
Yeah.
That's not really evidence.
So would I. And there's, like, a big cult fan following of Darlie that they want her... she's wrongfully convicted. So a lot of people will point to this. But what the newscast doesn't show is that before the celebration at the grave scene, she is mourning. There is a ceremony for the son, and she's clearly upset. And Darlie even comments, he wanted to be 7. I did the only thing I knew to do to honor him and give him all his wishes because he wasn't here anymore. But how do you know what you're going to do when you lose 2 children? How do you know how you're going to act? Exactly. You don't know how you're going to act until you're in that kind of a situation. Okay. And then let's look next to the 911 call.
Okay.
So
911 calls are the best.
So it was a 6-minute call.
Okay.
And the recording, I couldn't find it online, but it was played for the jury. So the jury got to hear her voice, what she sounded like, whether she was upset or not. So in the recording, Darlie tells the dispatcher that she touched the knife, the suspected murder weapon, and then said, I wonder if we could have gotten prints maybe. So she was worried about...
Wait, on the 911 call?
Yeah. She says, I wonder if we could have gotten the prints maybe.
Okay, so to me, that's an indication of guilt for me right away.
Yes.
You're not thinking about catching the guy. You're just thinking of saving your children at that point.
Yeah, for her, she was worried about the murder weapon being used against her, essentially, right? Like, they could get prints and...
Yeah, that's really suspect to me.
That is. She also mentioned that her husband ran downstairs during the call to the dispatcher, but she doesn't ask about the 7-month-old son. She doesn't run up to see how he's doing. She just disregards the third son even exists when this horrific accident happens to her other son, which is also weird, right? Odd for a mom, but she's 26, and I've never been a mom. But assuming I would have, been like,
Check on the third
how's
kid
Drake?
for sure.
Right, yeah. Okay. There's a lot more to the call we'll get into, but I just want to walk through each piece of evidence. So let's look at the blood and the garage. So there was a slit in the garage window, right?
Yep.
That's where the intruder allegedly entered, and also where he left.
You can tell if it's inside or outside of the garage, right? How they made
You
the
can
slit.
tell a lot, yeah.
Okay.
So Darlie said a man wearing dark clothes and a baseball cap attacked the boys and then her before escaping to the garage. And investigators stated this story was inconsistent with the evidence at home. So also something to know was she changed her story quite a bit through the night. So first, the intruder woke her. She screamed and fought until he ran off. Second, the intruder got on top of her while she was asleep on the couch.
Why were they sleeping downstairs on the couch? And stuff?
It wasn't ever said, but
Okay.
when they just decided tonight we're gonna sleep downstairs.
Okay.
They're
So
watching.
at this point, I think the mom already did it. Now I'm wondering if the father was involved. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards here.
So, in the garage, there's no blood in or on the garage window or the fence surrounding the backyard. And
Okay.
so stabs to a child, 2 children, and a slit to the throat would lead to some blood on the intruder, right? And
You'd
then
think.
he would take the blood with him.
Yeah.
There would be some evidence of
Outside the house.
blood in the garage at the very least, right? There wasn't any. And the windowsill had dust layers on it, and the mulch in the flower beds around the garage were undisturbed.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the arrest warrant stated when they went to arrest her. There was a fingerprint, though, that did not belong to Darlie, the husband, or the police, but it's unclear who it was. And the one crappy part is it was never investigated further. Like, whose fingerprint is this? They didn't take fingerprints of the kids
I don't
in the
know.
morgue, even
Yeah.
though that's normal, like, standard procedure of what they do.
Random fingerprint, though. I don't know that means a whole lot.
Darlie was stabbed, according to her, on the couch, but there was no appreciable amount of blood on the couch, and her slit was noted as superficial. But it did come millimeters from hitting her carotid artery, and if it did, she would have bled out. So, like, that's, like, right here. Mm-hmm. So was that self-inflicted? As you mentioned, that was questioned.
Why wouldn't the guy have killed her though? Why would he have just barely slit her throat?
I agree. So why would he go from stabbing 2 children really intensely, like the knife went through the boys, and then change his protocol as to how he's going to kill the person and just slit her throat and run away?
And there's not many people just walking around that go killing 2 kids and a mom. It's
what would be the motive?
Yeah, it's either like a crazy serial killer. Sure, they exist, but it's pretty rare. Or it's like a burglary gone wrong. But usually that's like you walk in on a burglar. It's not like this.
Yeah. So there was also a bloody sock found on the grass several houses down. So this sock is for the followers of Darlie wanting her to get out of jail, is the end all be all. How could the sock? Why would she stage that? Why would she run 450 feet, 3 houses down, plant the sock, run back?
Whose blood was on the sock?
It was one of the sons and her hand fibers. But the sock was the husband's, which I thought was weird. Either way, a lot of people are saying is there's no way she could have planted that. How would the sock get there? And then the cut screen in the garage was done.
Okay, but if it was an intruder, why would the sock be there? It doesn't really make sense with either case, right?
Yeah.
It makes more of a sense that the family did it. It doesn't make any sense. Why would the dad's sock be down the street 450 feet?
It indicates that someone was outside of the house.
The sock just tucked in his back pocket randomly and he ran down the street?
We're assuming that the husband and the wife, Darlie and Darren, never left the premises. So why would the sock be outside of the house, right? Why would you leave the house when your 2 children have been stabbed and murdered?
Yeah, but then I guess the other thing is, did they think that planting the sock there would somehow mean a criminal did it? Because that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me either.
Well, they're dumb, I would assume,
You
right?
would? Okay.
I mean, if they did the murder, it's not the smartest.
Yeah, okay.
So also there was 2 knives used in the crime. There was the knife to cut the slit in the garage, and then the knife that killed the boys. And both of them were taken from the chop block in the kitchen.
Yeah,
so
come on.
Someone would have had to come inside.
Known they had a chop block. I guess most places have a chop block, but if you're gonna kill people, you bring a knife from the outside.
Yeah. So
do we know anything about her mind state, leading up to this night?
So yeah, there was a lot of backstory on her mental state. So she was very depressed, postpartum. She had just had a 7-month-old son, and there was a lot of hearsay evidence of what kind of person she is. She a good mother? And she would often go into a pawn shop and she'd be cursing at the kids supposedly, and she wasn't the best mother. She was more so worried about her status and having fancy things and the money, right, than her kids. So let's look at the trial. So she was only charged with the murder of her 5-year-old son, not the older son.
Okay.
Which I thought was an interesting tactic, because if she got acquitted, then they could charge her with the other son's murder.
Oh yeah, another point. Someone just mentioned the window cut was from the chop block. So that makes no sense.
Yeah.
How do you get in the house with a knife from in the house?
Exactly.
You're already in the house.
No,
Okay.
exactly. So someone would have had to come in, get the knife, go out, and then come in through the window.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting tactic at first until I read further. So she was only charged for murder of her 5-year-old son, but when you look at the knife, when the knife was further investigated, there was no blood from the 6-year-old son on the knife. It was only Darlie and the 5-year-old son.
Okay.
So if she got acquitted for the 5-year-old son, she would have not been convicted of the 6-year-old son.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was a great tactic. Just pointing that out. So the 911 call, the officers testify she was upset and screaming, but didn't appear to be in shock. She just seemed very alert. One officer told her to apply pressure to the stab wounds on Damon's back as he gasped for breath 4 times, but she did nothing.
Okay.
She didn't get the towels. He was like, get damp towels and apply them.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't do anything. She didn't even follow the paramedics when they carried Damon to the ambulance, and on their way to the hospital, she didn't ask where they were being taken or any on their update. Which is weird. Suspect.
It's a little weird,
for
yeah.
a mom, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are moms.
Assuming this actually wasn't her, I could see her just being like in a trance, like I don't know what's happening, but then.
So that was a big part of the defense. There's a such thing as called traumatic amnesia, I think. So you have such a bad trauma, you forget stuff. So PTSD, right? Similar, like you lose memory of it.
Don't a lot of times people kill people and they're in that state when they do it, and then like they can lie to themselves, but they actually really believe that they didn't do it?
Yeah, our brains can tell us a lot of different things. The emergency room doctor testified she seemed emotionless, but the nurses testified she was emotional, crying, sobbing, like obviously upset. And then the expert testimony showed that there was cast-off blood found on Darlie's nightshirt that indicated she raised the knife over her head and withdrew it from each boy she stabbed.
So this is open and shut.
But the expert, he was discredited because he was also in a couple other cases like we've seen.
Okay, yeah. The experts are super corrupt sometimes.
Yeah, they are. They get paid off.
They just say what you tell them to say, basically.
I would say especially on the prosecution side, because you want to convict someone, right? 2 boys are dead. You're going after one person.
They tell you what you want to hear all the time.
I would agree. So that to me discredits that. But I looked at a lot of the pictures and you could tell like the shape of the blood showed like that kind of an action. Mm-hmm. So I guess let's talk about some motives, some thoughts. So the motive, I think a big motive was her kids wouldn't allow her to live the life she wanted to live.
That's most of the classic moms killing their kids.
So
they want to be out partying.
The husband, he like created this technology that was picked up by NASA and Lockheed. So they were making a lot of money on this contract work he was doing. They bought a 50-foot cruise, like a big cruiser boat. They bought a really big house. They had an unnecessary fountain. She had a Rolex. She had a bunch of jewelry.
That's funny.
And so it turned out that they were eventually they were losing all their money, right? They were in debt. Mm-hmm. The contracts were falling through because the technology was out of...
So they're living way above their means.
Yeah, and so that's a big part of the motive. A lot of talk from the people who were supporting Darlie, like it was just terrible work on the officers, the morgue people, and like the court. There was a lot of... the court reporter misproperly typed everything up. So there was a retrial on that basis.
Okay.
But they fixed the errors in the transcript. And so there's just a lot of talk about how it was just poorly conducted on a trial. But no trial is going to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to have everything perfectly down. Did the husband do it himself or did he help? So
he may have just done it himself without Darlene being involved.
Yeah, so that's one of the thoughts. So first thought is there was an insurance scam. He hired someone to steal jewelry, but it went wrong. Because there was
another thing that
$250,000 insurance policy.
Okay. So sometimes people hire people to kill.
Yeah.
So that's maybe a theory?
Yeah.
Okay. So he could have cut the window to let someone get in, I guess. That could happen. Okay.
Officers of the area killed them because the names Devin and Damon were demonic. That was a theory, which is ridiculous.
Dumb theory.
There's a guy with a YouTube channel who has that theory. Darren, the husband, drugged the wife, and so she doesn't have much memory of the night because she was roofied.
So we're saying Darlene may have just been a victim here too?
Yeah,
and the dad was doing it all?
Those are all possible thoughts. So there's some takeaways that I want to touch on, and then we can really...
Is the dad, did he get convicted of anything or no?
No.
Okay, so he's walking free.
Yeah, so apparently they made an agreement with the state to not touch him, and she would take the fall for it. But so she didn't ask about her. So I thought the biggest things I thought were weird was she didn't ask about the condition of her children or really care about them much throughout the night. There was jewelry, including her Rolex watch, her purse, everything sitting on the counter, and nothing was taken.
Okay.
So there was a lot of blood in the kitchen that was shown when they used luminol. So
they cleaned up some stuff?
So it looks like they cleaned up a ton of blood, the sink's covered in blood.
So that's an inside job then. It can't be, an intruder doesn't clean up when people are still alive and awake in the house.
But to me, the crazy part is when I was reading all this stuff, there was justification as to why someone would clean it up, because there's those fans who want Darlie taken from...
So give me their theory. What happened from their point of view?
They're not able to justify that, but they do say he might have washed his hands or something like that.
Come on, guys.
And then let's see. Oh, so the cut in the screen there was only a cut. Nothing indicates anything went in or out. So that to me is no one came in then, right?
Yeah. It's just one little side of the screen.
Yeah, it was just a slit.
Yeah, you can't get in through that. You'd have to rip it.
There was also a motion sensor light that stays on when activated for 17 minutes. So, with Darlie's case, how she presented it, if that were true, then the light would have still been on when the police arrived, 3 minutes post the call, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it was not on, right?
No, it wasn't on. So
Okay.
motion sensor, we're assuming it wasn't detected in that case. She didn't have any cuts on her arm or her hands. And if she's fighting a guy who's on top of her with a knife, he's slicing her, right? He's
Yeah.
not just hitting her. He's using his
Yeah,
knife.
you'd have like self-defense.
She didn't have self-defense cuts.
And you wouldn't have a clear... This is more like execution style. But then it didn't even go deep enough.
I don't understand why he would go from stabbing 2 children, brutally murdering them,
To like a light neck cut.
several stabs to, a light slash. All of the actions that take place happen just a few feet from her. Like both of her sons are brutally stabbed, and she's still sleeping before she fights him off.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense to me, right? Someone comes into your house, walks over to your kids. You have an instinct to wake up, right? Like I hear the slightest
I mean,
sound.
when you start stabbing, you're waking up.
Yeah, for sure. Their kids are screaming. And then
I guess it does make sense that, like, one potential theory that maybe I could buy, but I still don't really buy, I think the mom did it, is the dad, like, roofing her and then executing this. But did they do, like, a drugs panel on her or anything?
No.
No?
And the
I
drugs
feel
would
like
be out of your system.
Yeah. I feel like she would notice. The thing that really tips me off is the mentioning of the fingerprints on the knife during the 911 call. Your mind wouldn't be in that place at all.
And then, so for me, those are like the biggest takeaways. And honestly, at first, before I really dug deep into this, I thought she could have been wrongly convicted. Because why would someone do that? Like, why would you? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, most cases of a mom killing their kids is like
either
insanity or they just are missing out on life. They think.
Right. Yeah, and there's like a diary of it or something. But I really like this case because like of the fact that there's such a strong group of people that think she's wrongfully convicted.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's like a cult following.
Man, these wrongful conviction things, they do get a little out of control, I have to say. Like,
but it is really messed up when people are wrongfully convicted. She
Yeah,
was
of course.
obviously rightfully convicted. Whether or not she did it herself, she played a hand in it. She didn't do what she should have done or act in a proper way. I'm going to say when she found out herself.
You don't have to act any kind of way. I think just not even going by the acting, the evidence is stacked against her for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of the aftermath, before she was actually convicted and arrested, they had like they had a party at her mom's house where they talked about already having another child. Like
when?
Before she was convicted.
Oh my gosh.
So they were like talking about plans of going to Europe. They're gonna have another child, and then like she was asked, how do you feel and things, and she was like, oh, this place is a mess. I'm gonna get new drapes. I'm gonna clean up the carpet. She didn't even like care about her kids.
Okay, someone says, I think there was too many questions surrounding the cutting of the screen. The experts were not believed later, and if you throw out that evidence, I feel like she didn't do it. So yeah, the screen evidence, just completely throw that out. I still have a hard time believing someone goes in, just the pattern of like killing the kids, lightly slashing the mom's throat, and cleaning up the kitchen. I don't know about that. That seems
Cleaning
weird.
up the kitchen, and then there's no blood or tracks outside of the house or in the garage. Which is weird. But yeah, that's my case.
That's the case?
Yeah.
I'd love to read the theory on the people that believe she didn't do it. But to me, this is pretty open and shut. She did it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Intermission. Why did you initially think wrongful conviction?
I read like a really small article, and I just like thinking about being a mom, just like reading the basics. It sounds really like intense. Like in my mind, only someone could have come in, slit my throat ear to ear, and killed my 2 kids. You know, like and for me, I was envisioning like if she did slit her throat, how did that go down? Like, did the husband help her? And he was like, babe, just I'm gonna do this really
Yeah.
quickly. I'm gonna slit your throat, or was she like, I'm gonna do it and leave my husband out of it?
I think that's the real question: is what was the husband's involvement?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
it was
wanna know.
probably a unified front.
Yeah, I would have
That's
to
kind of
agree.
my thinking.
Because when the kids are being stabbed, you're assuming they're screaming, right? Or they're making some noise, so the husband would come down.
Yeah. What would you recommend necessities for first grocery trip? Costco, Sam's, or BJ's?
Food wise?
I like Costco, but from all those places, I would say like butter, some kind of meat would be good. I like to get like steaks. Costco has really good steaks for like $6 a pound in bulk. You can get like a slab that you have to cut yourself. That's good. They have like pre-cooked bacon. They have normal bacon.
Some of them have raw cheese,
They have sausage that's really good.
kielbasa brand.
Kielbasa brand, yeah. The Comté cheese we like a lot from Costco.
What else? Oh, they have almond flour.
The sock thing is just weird. Yeah, that is kind of weird. That's hard for
So
me
the
to
person,
really.
the best article I read was someone who detailed everything. They read the transcript, and he said, he or she, I'm not sure, that he walked the distance
Oh man.
it would take from their house to drop off the sock, and walked back,
Yeah.
and it took them 4 minutes. So like she could have,
It's weird to do that though.
well, you're thinking, right? Like it'll seem like someone else left the house because they took bloody sock with them.
I mean, no.
I mean, it's the biggest piece of evidence
Yeah, but it
as
makes
to
no
why people
sense.
think she's wrongfully convicted.
It makes no sense
So
in
it
the
did its
intruder
part.
theory either though. Like you could come up with way better ideas than that.
What would be a good idea? How would you do it?
Like plant a knife that was never inside your house, like in the bushes or something. Like that would be my first thought, right? I have tights on again, guys. Sorry.
I don't know. I also wouldn't want to stab my sons.
Some people say an audio delay. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about that. That just happens sometimes on live stream. Sorry about that. Hopefully it fixes itself soon. Made your chicken tenders and halloumi fries for dinner. Oh, and you're eating along. That's awesome. It's pretty obvious based on your story she staged the crime scene. I would have to say so. Someone asking about did we land on the moon? Maybe I'll do that for a future episode. That'd be a good one.
Oh, when I was reading the article, they were like, "This isn't a JFK situation," and I laughed because I didn't know JFK was really a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a big conspiracy.
I didn't-
Conspiracy. Oh my god.
I had no idea.
Oh.
I'm really out of the loop on conspiracies. We did add rice vinegar to our egg roller bowl, just a little
What
bit.
all did you put in it? You put sesame oil, rice vinegar, ginger, garlic.
Ginger, garlic, soy sauce, shallots, and then the meat and the cabbage. Salt, no, and just pepper, no salt.
Did Darlie have bruises on her body?
So she did. She had like a small slit here. She had the slit in her throat, and then from here to here, she had it was just black. But it was only like that 4 days after the incident.
Okay.
So
Not the night of the incident?
no, not the night, which makes sense because bruising could occur, right? It's usually 24 to 48 hours past. So it would have been there before that. And the examiner, the doctor, and the nurses said there was nothing the entire time she was in ICU. But that was presented to the jury.
Okay.
But that was the only bruising. I feel like she would have a lot more.
Did you hear Steph Curry's a big conspiracy guy?
What
No,
in what way?
I heard Kyrie's a huge conspiracy guy. Kyrie's into the flat earth stuff.
Who's Kyrie?
Kyrie Irving,
Oh.
like top 5 players on earth. Okay guys, you ready for mine? Oh, these are hot. These Quest tortilla chips. Okay. On to
Was
part
mine a
2.
bad one? I feel bad.
No, yours is great.
Okay. It was fun, right, guys?
Yeah.
I'll look at your guys' suggestions next time and pick one from there.
Pull up the YouTube chat on yours, can you?
Yeah. Is it still delayed or is it working?
How's the sound, guys? Is it a little delayed still? Julius. Some people asking about the CBD oil dosage. I don't know. I would say maybe 15 milligrams to 25 milligrams, somewhere in there is probably what I do typically. I don't really measure it though. I just kind of pour it in my mouth and gauge it arbitrarily. Okay. And yeah, guys, some of you are saying like you guys are here for keto. You're not here for crazy crime, murder, blood stuff. Yeah, I get that. But
we do keto 6 days out of the week. One night we do crime.
Yeah. So that's what we're just trying this. We enjoy this, so we're branching out a little.
But you can come back tomorrow. We'll have a new video up. What video are we going up tomorrow? A recipe, right?
Recipe tomorrow.
We got a recipe video tomorrow, so you can look then.
So if you don't like this, literally every single other video we've made, and there's over 500 of them, is on the keto diet. So check those out. All right. Here we go. So my case is on Bryce Laspisa. He's 19 years old.
Okay.
I'll go a little bit into his personality here because I did pick up a lot just by researching the case. He has overprotective parents, but he's definitely kind of rebellious. He's into drugs as a high schooler and like drinking as a high schooler.
He's 19 in high school?
No, he's not in high school at the time of the disappearance, and this is his disappearance.
Okay.
But he got into like drugs and drinking relatively early, seeming to rebel against his parents pretty early on in life, and I read like some firsthand accounts from people. He was like basically known as a drug guy at school. Not like, heroin, but like smokes weed pretty regularly, drinks all the time, that type of stuff. Like just kind of a bad boy in high school. So in 2012, his two parents, they live in Illinois. They're like really well off. They're doing well. They retire early. They move to California, Laguna Niguel, it's called. And this is like their retirement home. They're loving it. Bryce moves with them, and he enrolls in a community college.
Okay.
So the first thing that's a little bit weird, and a big part of this case, in my opinion, is the relationship between the parents and Bryce, the boy. Okay?
Why?
So just because I think there's a dynamic that we don't fully know about going on. We'll get into that later, though.
Okay.
So the first thing is, there's community colleges everywhere, right? Every maybe 20 miles. So he decides to go to a community college 460 miles away, over 7 hours away.
Okay, that's
To
not
me,
abnormal.
It's not abnormal. It makes no sense. The only time you ever do that is if you're going on to play basketball or football or something.
Or you want to transfer to a better school in that area. Like Penn State,
maybe
Ranch
that.
campus.
Maybe that. It didn't seem like that was his intention, though.
Okay.
Okay, so he goes to a community college 460 miles away. So apparently, he seems great. He seems like he has a great freshman year. He has a girlfriend. He makes friends. All the basic stuff. It's just doing well. And I would imagine his parents are pretty overprotective, so he goes to college really enjoying his freedom.
Right.
Okay.
Rebelling.
So after his first year, he goes home, spends his freshman summer with his parents. And I remember when I did this, it's kind of a shocking thing because you have all this freedom, then you go back and your parents still think you're a kid type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So that probably sucked. So he goes back to college at the end of his freshman summer, start of his sophomore year, 2 weeks early.
Okay.
Just hanging, kicking it. Classes start in 2 weeks. His friends are all there too. They notice a distinct change in Bryce's demeanor. He's drinking a lot. He already drank a lot, but now we're talking alcoholic level drinking.
He's making up for he's lost time.
Potentially,
Summer.
Yeah. 2/5 of vodka per weekend. That's a quote from his friend. That's pretty crazy. That's
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. So that's basically morning to night drinking of vodka. And his parents don't even know that he drinks. They say he never drinks at home. So now we are on 8/27. What is 8? Is that August? January?
Yeah.
August 27th. Tuesday. Bryce goes to class. Now we're kind of into the timeline here, okay? 8/27. Bryce goes to class. He has a chat with his mother, and she says, normal conversation. Nothing's changed, right? My good old Bryce. That night, his friends report he plays video games, drank, and took Vyvanse to stay up the whole night.
Vyvanse is like Adderall.
Yeah, it's like Adderall. I think he has ADHD diagnosed, but he didn't take any drugs for it. So this was recreational. He wasn't on a prescription.
He wants to play video games. I get it.
Yeah, he wants to stay up all night playing video games. In college, at 19 years old, I could see myself doing something crazy like that. I would never do that now, but I kind of get it.
I definitely get it.
Yeah, I get it. Sure.
Vyvanse isn't even that bad.
If you take it at night, though, you're just like,
You're
I'm
staying
going to
up all
stay
night.
up all night, I guess.
Yeah, when you're with friends. Is he with friends?
Yeah, he's with friends. They're not taking Vyvanse, though. They're
Okay.
looking at him. He's drinking and taking Vyvanse, kind of like partying by himself.
Okay, so he's a partier.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
So he has Kim is his girlfriend. Sean is his best friend. Those two are kind of integral to the story. They come up a little bit. They say he was taking Vyvanse for the entire 2 weeks he was back at college. So this is like a new thing he's kind of picking up.
Okay.
He's got a Vyvanse habit.
You take a
now.
drug, it's really fun, you want to do it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, older people probably, they kind of understand you can't just really like burn out. You can't just like be popping drugs all the time because they're really fun, right? So I don't think he was at that age. He's at the age where it's like, it's fun, I'm going to keep taking them. I don't care. Like just,
Yeah,
That
just
type
she's
of
still
thing.
going to burn out.
yeah. So apparently going into the 28th where some stuff starts to happen, he may or may not, this is unconfirmed, been up for 2 or 3 days straight.
Whoa.
Just
So he's like
Vyvanse.
delusional.
Yeah. Hallucinating, I would assume at this point.
Yeah.
He's up 2 or 3 days straight. So now we're on Wednesday, the 28th. Sean and Kim, friend and girlfriend, they both report that he's acting incredibly strange all day.
Okay.
So Sean calls his mom to report the behavior, the odd behavior.
See,
To me, that's like he's really wiling out.
okay, yeah, because I'm not calling a mom unless it's like, I can't
Exactly.
control this needs to stop and needs help. Okay.
I'm trying to think of the situation I would ever call my friend's parents and tell them like they're doing bad stuff. It'd have to be so extreme to where I couldn't just talk to them and get through to them.
Yeah.
You know, their eyes are just like glazed over, like they don't even know I exist.
Yeah,
That's
of
what it
course.
would have to be.
Because you don't do that to like a best friend unless it's obviously you need to.
Yeah. So there's a text message from the previous night, Tuesday. This gets unveiled a little later on. From Bryce to his girlfriend. He says, "You're better off without me." Kim says, "Are we breaking up?" Bryce says, "Yes."
Okay.
So this is the previous night.
But he's been up for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
On drugs. He's like probably withdrawing, like coming off. So he's like
Maybe.
upset. He's depressed. It just makes sense to
Yeah,
say
you
that.
do dumb stuff.
You do dumb stuff.
Okay, so then we're at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Bryce reportedly tries to break up with his girlfriend in person at her house.
Why? Did she respond and say like, no, we're not breaking up?
No, I don't know exactly how it got to this point. We don't really know.
Okay.
But he's at her house. Apparently, he's just acting crazy. His friends are concerned with his behavior. They take his keys away,
Okay, I would do that.
so he can't drive. So then, about a half hour later, Bryce calls his mom. No, actually, Bryce's girlfriend calls his mom and talks to her about how crazy he's behaving. Puts Bryce on the phone, so now the mom is talking to her son, and she's like, "He sounds like normal Bryce." Bryce is doing his thing. Bryce tells her that his girlfriend is just mad that he broke up with her.
Okay.
So the mom gets back on the phone with the girlfriend, and he's like, "Give Bryce his keys back. He's going home." Kind of like taking her son's side. She's like, "You're just an upset girlfriend."
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how that ends. 1 a.m. that night, so now we're into Thursday early morning,
Okay.
29th. Bryce calls his mom, and we don't really know. This is the thing. Bryce calls his mom a few times during this day, and we don't know much. We know her side of the story, kind of. And we don't know what the call is about. She assumes he's at his apartment, and she's just like, "Yeah, Bryce, whatever, we'll deal with stuff in the morning." And then the police, later on, when they ping the call, they find out that he's not at his apartment. He actually has never gone home. He's 1 hour south of his college apartment, just like kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So he left his girlfriend's house, got in his car, drove an hour south,
But never made it home.
never made it home. His home is 7 hours away.
From the girlfriend?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're at college.
Oh, he drove to her house.
At college, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was at college. It was like
Okay,
a
yeah,
20-minute drive or
Okay.
something. Okay. So then 11 a.m., parents receive a voicemail from State Farm roadside assistance for their car, which is Bryce is using.
Okay.
Apparently, he needed some assistance the next morning. So the parents repeatedly try to call Bryce once they get this alert from State Farm. They're like, "Okay, what's our son doing? State Farm's getting called now. This kid's out of control." So they keep trying to call him, no response. Parents call his roommate, the one that called them the previous day, to report him being weird.
Sean.
Yeah. they discover Bryce never went home last night.
Okay.
And I would imagine, like, Bryce has done this in the past. He's just kind of a little bit of a wild card.
I wouldn't say that. I would say, though, like, his bender of drugs led him to just, like, be spontaneous.
Sure, but they don't know that he's doing drugs.
His friends? Yeah.
The parents.
Okay, yeah.
So quickly, the parents look through his credit card transactions, which they can do because he has one of their credit cards, which is another thing. He's like fully reliant on them.
Okay.
And
That's normal for a 19-year-old.
Yeah. They find a charge for an auto shop in Buttonwillow, California. This is just like a really small town. It's about 3 hours north of his home.
Okay.
So, you know, he's progressing kind of towards home.
Home.
Seems like he's going home, yeah.
Yeah.
And this town basically just has a gas station. It's like a really small town you drive through. There's like a bar, a gas station.
We've been
That's
to those.
it. Yeah. Parents assume this means he's on his way home, which is a logical
I don't know
assumption.
if I would assume that.
I don't think you assume anything at this point because he's just so out of control.
I've never been a parent, but like now I'd be like, oh my god, Kim said he was acting weird. Like something must be up.
So yeah, we can get into this a little bit later, but after what's transpired so far, put yourself in his parents' situation. I would be like, you know, what do I got to do? I just got to get to him to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
Basically.
One of us would drive, right?
Yeah. So.
Oh my god, this is making me feel like a parent. Oh.
So 12:30 p.m. Okay, so remember, he left the previous night. Now we're just a little bit past noon the next day.
Yeah.
12:30 p.m. Parents call the roadside serviceman to inquire about Bryce. Like, what happened? What was your interaction like with our son? He confirms he gave Bryce 3 gallons of gas. So Bryce ran out of gas.
Okay.
Log that. Bryce,
Oh, you can do that? That's cool.
Yeah. Bryce ran out of gas, and he gave him the gas at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So this is 12:30 p.m. He's like, hey, I'm going to go back there. I can check on him, make sure everything's cool with Bryce, because he's not answering his phone. He's unresponsive.
Right.
So the handyman guy goes back. Bryce is sitting in the same area. So this is 3.5 hours after he gave him the gas. Bryce is still sitting on the side of the road in his car.
Is he in a Walmart parking lot?
No, he's just on the side of the road.
Someone asked if he was.
No, he's not in a Walmart parking lot. So that's 3.5 hours sitting in that spot. And Christian puts Bryce.
And he's like normal. He's talking. He's functional.
Seems to be. There's a lot of check-ins on like his mental state during all of this, and everyone's like, yeah, it sounded exactly like he was just in his normal state of mind. So the handyman gives the phone to Bryce. He talks to his mom, and we don't know what's said again, but basically his mom's like, you know, hurry up, come home. She says he sounded like himself.
Okay.
And her worries were basically alleviated.
Okay.
She's like, okay, sounds normal.
You think you know your son. You know your son.
He's coming home.
But also when you're like depressed, it's easy to put on a front, or like when you're upset, or like, you know, you can definitely pretend that kind of stuff.
And I think the mom also, like, I'm trying to think, were the parents really mean about it? And they're like, you get your butt home, like that type of stuff?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know. From my experience, most white parents are like loving. They're like, all right, we love you, son. Be safe. Drive safe. We'll see you soon. Ginger, the cat's waiting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my dad would be like, rip me a new one.
We have pies on the windowsill.
Waiting for you.
And one note from the handyman guy, he said his eyes look red.
So this is high.
Yeah, that's the only note from the entire day.
Maybe he was high. He couldn't drive. He had to sit and wait it out.
He also has a very red complexion overall, though. He has red hair.
Have you seen a picture?
Yeah, he has red hair. He's like a very albino type of guy. I think red eyes come naturally. Like my eyes are a little red a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you're smoking the reefer. 3:30 p.m. So now we are, you know, time's passing by. This is 3 hours from the last update. Parents expect Bryce to be home by now.
Okay.
So when 3 o'clock rolls around, they're getting concerned. They start calling, texting, leaving messages. No answers. Bryce won't answer. The entire day, Bryce didn't pick up the phone from his parents.
But it rings.
It rings. Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
6 p.m., parents file a missing persons report. So this is like a big step, big logical step in my mind.
Logical.
Because like we're thinking, hey, he's on his way home, and then next thing we know, we're filing missing persons reports. This allows the police to do an emergency ping on his phone. Guess where the phone pings?
Their house.
No.
Same spot.
Same spot.
Also, someone said his eyes could be red from not sleeping.
That too, yeah. So the phone pings in the exact same spot, but he's not in the exact same spot.
I'm so freaked out. Oh, his phone is there? He leaves it behind.
No. He's 8 miles up the road.
He Maura Murray's this shit.
He's 8 miles up the road.
Okay.
So now, if you're counting on your fingers here, 10 hours spent within an 8-mile radius in a small town. 10 hours, just in your car. Nothing really to do.
A lot to think about.
Lots to think about, yeah.
And he doesn't have gas, so his car's not like on and pumping.
Yeah. So the deputies are sent to like kind of interrogate him, see like what's going on with this guy. They talk to him. They also.
They talk to him?
Yeah, they also say he's totally normal. He seems like he's doing normal stuff.
At that point, I would, as the mom, I'd be like, you have to bring him home, get him in the police car. I don't care. I'll pay what it takes.
You can't really do that though because he's 19. He's an adult. He can do what he wants.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
This is frustrating.
So they perform a field sobriety test, which he passes. So he's not drinking alcohol, which we were saying he's maybe like borderline alcoholic. And I would think if you're just stuck on the road, maybe you're drinking.
Yeah, but they didn't. Did they find anything in his
No,
car?
not drinking. Nothing in his car whatsoever. They search his car. He consents to the search. And Bryce just says he's there blowing off some steam. That's a quote from him.
Okay.
Officers ask him to call his parents. He refuses. Officers dial his parents and hand him the phone.
Okay.
We don't know much about what went on in that call, but it's basically the same thing. Like, Bryce, come on, come home. That type of thing.
Or go to school. Do fucking something.
Yeah. So later on that night, Christian, the mechanic guy,
Okay.
he returns a call from earlier from the Laspisa family. So it's not like they just called him again, like, hey, go check on our son again. He's returning a call from earlier. He checks on the spot where the cops met Bryce, and he's still there. Still in the same spot. So we're working on like
And they
12.
don't say like what he's doing. Is he just staring at the steering wheel, staring straight ahead? Like we don't know what he's looking at or doing.
No, it's like
He's not like playing games on his phone.
Whenever anyone comes in contact with him, it's like Bryce is being a normal guy.
Like on his phone, Instagram.
No,
Like
just
what is he doing?
I don't. No one said really. Someone said Bryce is the car. That's so funny. That would be like a great twist. So yeah, he's still there, but this time the mechanic guy says he's gonna follow Bryce until he gets on the highway to make sure there's some kind of movement going on this case.
Okay.
So he does that. He follows Bryce 10 miles down the highway and then gets off. So while Bryce is on the road, over those few hours he's driving, there's various calls between Bryce and the family, and they actually are answering now. Bryce is answering.
Okay.
Everyone in the family, mom and dad, they're asking, like, give us road signs, give us landmarks, like, where are you exactly? And he gives extremely vague answers.
Okay.
The only thing he keeps saying, which seems to be reliable, is that the GPS says he'll be home at 3:25 a.m.
Okay.
So they're expecting him to be home at 3:25. 2:09 a.m., Bryce calls and says he's too tired to drive. So, you know, he's like, I'm going to pull to the side of the road, maybe sleep. That makes sense because he's been up forever. And that is the last time anyone ever spoke to him. 2:09 a.m.
So he's really close to home.
Well, we got more info though.
Okay.
So 8 a.m. the next morning, a knock on the parents' door. They're like, oh, Bryce is home. Great. Now we can ground him. But it's not Bryce. It's the police saying they found an abandoned and overturned car 2 hours north of their home, 1 hour south of Buttonwillow, the place Bryce was last seen.
Okay.
So now their car is, you know, like all damaged and flipped over. So apparently what happened is at some point in the night, Bryce drives off the road towards like a really tall cell phone tower. Like there's a hill with a cell phone tower. He drives up the hill, down the other side. There's a lake on the other side. He's accelerating as he goes down the hill. And what I've heard is it's like a little bit of an optical illusion. It looks like you can just drive right into the lake and kind of like fly into the lake. But there's a cliff and then there's like a lot more land before the lake. So he drove off a 25-foot cliff, which is pretty high, but it's like not high enough to really die. And so his car flips over and the back window is kicked out from the inside. Oh my gosh. The back window is kicked out from the inside. So Bryce is alive on impact, obviously. He gets out of the car.
Oh.
There's blood in the car of Bryce's, but it's small drops. It's not anything to be like he could bleed out type of stuff. So Bryce is out. He's outside of the car. He's safe at the end of the accident. This is clear. So his laptop, phone, everything is basically left in and around the car. Police do a huge search around the area. They find nothing, but they pull the surveillance pictures from a nearby camera. It's not even that nearby. It's like 10 miles down the road. there's this street there's like a hill you pull up, basically near the lake where his car was found. So his car is found on camera at 2:15 a.m. going up the hill.
Okay.
And then...
Oh, okay. So right before he talked to his parents. After he talked to his parents.
And then at 4:29 a.m., he's caught on camera again going up the same hill. And his car was found 1 hour after that. So his car goes up the same hill twice. And
really separate times.
Separate times, 2 hours apart. And then 1 hour after the last sighting is when the police find his car. So there's like a pretty small window in there.
Yeah.
And this is getting towards the end of it now, so you guys can start throwing theories out.
Aliens.
On day 9 of the search, they bring in bloodhounds, and I put a ton of trust in bloodhounds.
So do I, oddly. They know what's up.
But the thing is, it's 9 days later, so maybe they're not as accurate at that point. And they follow his scent from the car to a truck stop, and then it disappears.
His car?
No, his scent.
Oh.
To a truck stop, and then it's gone. Kind of like Mara Murray.
So he hitchhikes.
Maybe he hitchhikes. That's a potential
So he
theory.
survived that crash, then he walks to the truck stop.
According to the dogs. You got any theories? And then here's some just other anecdotal, not even anecdotal, that's actual stuff. Other stuff. Before he left, he gave his roommate his Xbox, which he was gaming all night. You remember how much he loved that?
He's a gamer, yeah.
And his diamond earrings that his mom gave him.
Oh, he's an earring guy?
Yeah, 2 double earrings.
So he's like highly depressed.
No, but he was just that type of guy, like, you know, trying to be cool, I would say.
He was 19. I'm assuming he's dead at this point.
Okay. He sent text messages to his roommate the night before he left and said, "I love you, bro. Seriously, you're the best person I ever met. You saved my soul."
He's killing himself.
A little bit ominous, right?
Yeah.
The roommate does not believe Bryce left on purpose. But who cares what the roommate says, really? Everyone's going to say, I don't believe, you know.
Yeah, that he was a bad guy. Like, everyone's an angel when they're, like, dead and missing.
And just like more of an up-to-date thing is there has been sightings of homeless men.
No audio.
No
Audio's
audio?
back.
Oh, okay. Audio back. Oh, you lost audio for a while there? Okay.
Just for like 2 seconds.
So let me just run through the last few things I said. Before he left, he gave his roommate his Xbox and diamond earrings. He sent a text message to his roommate. "I love you, bro. Seriously, you're the best person I ever met. You saved my soul." And there's been sightings of homeless men believed to be Bryce, but none have ever been confirmed. And this got me a little thinking, so we'll get to this in a little when we get to the theories.
Oh, someone, Keto Cricket, sounds like he was planning on trying to see how fast he needed to go to make the jump. Up the hill the first time?
Yeah. Oh.
That's why he went a second time.
Oh, just kind of like scope things out?
Yeah.
That could be possible,
and then
yeah.
he was probably up there like looking at things. That makes a lot of sense.
Wicked delay? Man, sorry guys. I don't really know what to do about that. So, some theories.
Maybe he suffered from schizophrenia.
Audio is so laggy.
Maybe pause for a sec.
I can't really, I don't know how to pause. I don't think you can pause a live stream. Okay. Let us know when it gets better, guys. Faked his death. We got a lot of theories here. Okay, let's get into theories. Theory number 1 is he had a mental break. Either like maybe it was brought on by the Vyvanse, or another theory that I actually like this better. It's on the mental break is the come down. Got him very depressed.
That's what I said. Yeah. And that happens off of like anything. Even like drinking. The next morning you wake up.
Yeah.
You feel a little down.
But when you're just slamming it for 2 weeks straight and then you're, you know.
Plus the Vyvanse, you're withdrawing.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're slamming Vyvanse for 2 weeks straight
And
and then you're not doing anything. I would imagine there'd be a pretty substantial come down, get you kind of depressed thoughts.
Yeah. And maybe like in his mind he was like, I just broke up with my girlfriend. I don't have anything to live for. Like, you know, you go to dark places.
Yeah. Theory number 2 is he walked away.
I'm not a fan of that theory generally because most people aren't just walking away successfully like this. There's trails. How is he starting his life over and never being found again?
Yeah, that's a thing.
And like, I don't know. Like at 19, you're not walking away. Like Maura Murray was so young too. Most of these people are really young. Like they're not, even the girl from last week, she's not walking away.
I don't know. I think there is a decent
It's not
potential.
easy to just like.
It's not easy, no. But I do think that it's possible. Detectives believe the walking away theory. That's their number one theory.
Well, because they want to believe that they can't solve the crime.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've failed their jobs.
Everyone has like a motive on why they believe what they believe. Number 3 is suicide. I think there's a pretty strong likelihood for this one. The only thing is the body's never been found.
Yeah. Well, he could have like taken the ride from a trucker, then gone somewhere remote and killed himself.
Yeah, I don't know why you would go to all that trouble though, but you know, who knows?
Yeah. Mom just killed her 2 sons. 26.
Number 4 theory is foul play. Of course, the parents believe this one.
Also, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like
Sean and Kim killed him?
Sean and Kim? What's that?
Kim. The girlfriend and the best friend.
Oh, no, they're just thinking like he was met with foul play, like someone random.
Like Maura Murray's case.
Yeah. And then this is kind of an interesting theory, and this ties back into the homeless sighting. So this is a fugue state, okay? And I didn't really know what this was, but apparently it's a rare psychiatric disorder characterized by reversible amnesia for personal identity, including memories, personality, and identifying characteristics of individuality.
This is the parents not being able to take accountability.
I think so.
Or a cope, yeah.
But I was kind of thinking, like, we lived in San Francisco for a while, and there's so many homeless people out there that are just like, you know, they're really out of it. And it wouldn't be that odd to, like, think of this guy somehow winding up there like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's
You guys got theories on this?
picked up by a serial killer. Serial killers aren't that, like, willy-nilly. Right?
And then my one line of thinking throughout all of this is that the parents know more than they're telling. I don't think they have, like, any...
What do you mean? Why would they know more?
They didn't, like, kill him or, like, make him disappear, but I think there's some kind of underlying storyline throughout this whole case that we don't know. Like,
do you think maybe he didn't sound normal on the phone, but the parents
maybe
are
that, yeah. And they're trying to cover their concern or their reactions because they didn't really react in any substantial way.
And now that he's gone, they have to pretend he was normal.
Yeah.
Because why would you just let your son...
Maybe there's just like seems like they know some kind of key information on maybe his mind state or like what he was up to in life at that time that we don't.
Stephanie B, I think he probably had some conversations with the mom that we're not hearing. Yeah. I wish we knew. I'm sure they were recorded though, right?
I would think so. I think the detectives probably know all the conversations, but is maybe not public.
It's definitely some kind of mental break. Evidence of him just staying in the car for hours and then driving up a hill wanting to kill himself but couldn't do it. So the first time he went, couldn't do it maybe. Second time he went, he didn't die.
Yeah.
So he went to the truck stop. But like, then how do you disappear at the truck stop? I'm definitely believing these dogs.
I want to believe the dogs too, yeah. I mean, it's very clear he lived through the crash and then something happened. So why not believe the dogs? It seems like the best line of thinking. He went to a truck stop.
Yeah.
And then just some notes to kind of think about. This puts you in his mind state. Like he ran out of gas, right? That's not something you typically do. Running out of gas?
No. If you know you're driving, if he was driving home for real, 7 hours?
He sat in his car for 10 hours. So to me, that's just a guy, like, doesn't have much to do, doesn't have much maybe to live for, doesn't have much going on in life. Like, he's just kind of sitting out there thinking, right?
Yeah, to me, also, the parents should have gone and got him. Someone said, why didn't they go get him when he broke down? Like, after all those, as soon as you file the missing person, you get out there,
Exactly.
right?
I would, yeah. Not answering his phone, but it's fully functioning the entire time. Why did he drive 8 miles and stop? That's another weird thing, right? I don't really know why he would do that.
Maybe he was like, maybe I should go home. I talked to my mom, and then he got 8 miles, and then he was like, I can't, you know?
Or maybe he was just doing like some kind of homage to the classic movie by Eminem. You like that one?
If a trucker picked him up, he could have disappeared to a faraway place and started over.
Yeah, that's true.
Foul play at the truck stop? I guess if it's in like a shitty town, small town.
Truck stops are kind of like known for
Scary?
foul play, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Did they dredge the lake? Yeah, they searched the lake. They searched the whole surrounding area, dogs, overhead cameras, infrared, all that type of stuff. I don't think there's any history of mental illness, no. But
The break from like the 2-week spiral.
yeah. Was he eating during those 10 hours? That's a good question. I don't know. I think when you're on Vyvanse, you don't need to eat.
Not use the bathroom either. Maybe just like pee it out of the car.
Yeah. I think his grades were decent. That's everything I've read, but we don't have a lot of good evidence on that.
I agree. A 19-year-old doesn't have enough life experience to just take off and start over. But they also don't have enough life experience to know that life is amazing and you should continue to live it. So they do get depressed easily and they kill themselves. Or they do crazy things like he did. I remember when I was 19, everything was the end of the world.
Well, why would he give his Xbox to his best friend? Right?
He didn't fucking care anymore. He was like, I'm done. Even just mentally, like, I'm done with life. The games have screwed me. My girlfriend screwed me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Broke up with girlfriend, gave away Xbox. To me, that's either I'm disappearing or suicide. Those seem like two things that are definitely in play. And then to me, it'd be weird if he was met with foul play when he's in this kind of crazy mindset. But I guess, miracles happen.
If you got a ride with someone, you'd think they would come out and say something. Unless they did something like killed him or, or I don't know, like, or you just don't want to get involved, right? If he's missing after you dropped him off in Tennessee, then it's like you could be in trouble.
The trucker?
Yeah.
I think the trucker would come forward, probably.
I don't think so. A lot of people don't want to be involved. Most people, I would say, don't want to be involved.
19 seems like a normal age to lose it. Yeah, I think 18 to 24 males are like the number one age demographic of having like mental breaks. Okay, this is actually another theory. Someone mentioned it, so I'll bring it up. I wonder if he intentionally disappeared because he realized he was gay and couldn't face the repercussions. That was brought up. That's like a kind of a deeper theory. Yeah, I think that's potentially possible. I guess the motive doesn't really matter that much.
Does he have a religious family?
Not religious, I don't think, but just kind of strict. So I could see them not being down with that.
Yeah, I guess that would give people a reason to disappear.
That's the story, guys. Still missing to this day.
Schizophrenia.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know. See, this is frustrating.
I'm gonna do a different style of case next week. This one, my first two were like the same, disappearing people.
Yeah.
Disappearing
It's
people
stressful.
is the most interesting to me. I like the idea that they could still be out there.
My favorite is the one I kind of did, like reading through the evidence
that
and
one
the
too.
trial.
I love cases with trials, yeah.
Yeah. And the whole transcript's out there if you guys are interested in reading that.
Maybe at some point we'll do like Adnan. Adnan's one of my favorites, but it's just there's so much info out on there, and everyone
I
has
feel like that would
opinions
have to be a
on
two-part.
it. It might be.
That
yeah.
would be fun.
Maybe we could just both do it together.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What do you guys think about Adnan's case? You guys have opinions on that one?
What do you think?
Do I want to give away what I think on it right now?
We shouldn't yet. All right, guys.
What do you guys think? Comment below if you guys are watching this afterwards on cases for next week.
My egg roll bowl is ready to eat now. Yay! Hope you enjoy it.
We're going to keep doing these on Wednesdays for a little while at least.
I can't imagine why we'd stop unless we just got like 100% downvotes. Even then, I think we should keep doing it.
Staircase, people are saying? That's a fun one. I think that one's pretty open and closed too, though.
So that one came up compared to this one as well.
Did it?
That it was like open and closed, but he was acquitted, wasn't he?
I can't remember.
There wasn't like enough evidence, I think. I remember he was.
Okay.
His life's like over now, though.
Someone said Adnan's guilty. Hey guys, did I miss the live stream? Yeah, we're just closing down now, but you can rewind to the start.
Why was Darlie not convicted of both murders? So they only tried her for capital murder for one, because if she was acquitted, they wanted to be able to try her for the second son, so they could definitely just get her. It wouldn't have worked, though.
Should we call it?
Yes. A lot of people want the staircase. I guess It'd be fun to talk about.
If you guys are into the staircase, have you heard of the owl theory in that case?
Because that's where I'm at.
That's my favorite. I like the owl theory. Someone just said. Yeah, I like the owl
it makes
theory
sense
too.
with the scratches on her head.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
It makes
though.
sense. There was owls prominent in that area too.
I know,
And they were
but-
just outside. The door could have been open. She was drunk. We shouldn't get into it though.
The owl theory.
All right, guys.
Oh, you know what's another good case? There's some that are not so like in the cases I'm looking for, there has to be some element of mystery. I don't just like telling about murders. Like Chris Benoit. You know about Chris Benoit?
You've told me about.
He's a famous wrestler. Like his is just a
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
story, but it's just kind of like a story of a guy killing his family. There's no real like mystery or discussion to be had. It's just like this guy killed everyone.
Yeah. What time on Wednesday? We do 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. So that's not even dinner time for West Coasters. It's like just after
it's
lunch.
Uh,
Sorry.
If you guys, so what I'm starting to do is putting a little reminder of when we're going live the day before, so you guys can see the exact time. There's actually a button you